We begin with breaking news. Governor Gavin Newsom says the Department of Justice is investigating him and the first partner.
In recent days, federal agents have knocked on the doors of family, friends, and former employees. Not because they found a crime, because they're simply trying to find one.
Well, political director Ashley Zavala is here now. And Ashley, what are we hearing about this investigation?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts here, but to be clear, neither the governor nor his wife have been subpoenaed by federal investigators, but the governor's office says that banks associated with businesses and organizations associated directly to them have been subpoenaed to provide financial records to investigators. More than a dozen people also associated with the Newsoms have been approached by federal investigators within the last week or so for interviews and inquiries. The governor's office did cooperate earlier this year as federal authorities looked into a situation involving his ex-chief of staff, Dana Williamson, who was indicted in November. Specifically, that inquiry was related to the firing of a state attorney within the Newsom administration who was investigating video game company Activision Blizzard. Williamson allegedly lied to investigators about that situation, which resulted in one of the charges, which ended up getting dropped last week. So moving on, apparently nothing came from that, and now the governor says they are looking for a crime that does not exist. Meanwhile, law enforcement sources close to the situation tell us there are multiple investigations involving people associated with the Newsoms, which started a year ago. The U.S. Attorney's Office here in Sacramento is the lead investigating agency, multiple sources confirmed. One of those sources said the investigation involves the tax activity of the nonprofit organizations that Newsom's wife, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, oversees. Another is related to the governor's ex-chief of staff, Dana Williamson, who I mentioned earlier, who was indicted in November. The source could not provide more specifics beyond that, but noted the investigations started from whistleblowers within California's government, not because of President Donald Trump or Todd Blanche, again, according to the source that we spoke with today.
Well, what is President Trump saying about that?
Right. So the White House essentially just deferred us back to the U.S. Department of Justice. I should note, we reached out to the U.S. Department of Justice. They declined to comment. We also reached out to the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Sacramento. We're still waiting to hear back. We also reached out to Newsom's ex-chief of staff, her attorney, McGregor Scott. He's not answering my calls, so we'll let you know once we get a response from any of these people.
Mr. McGregor Scott, call Ashley back, please. Yes, but it's interesting the timing that the governor is even announcing this, because he's known about this, right?
He has known about this, and we should also note. I mean, I mentioned, last month we covered that Dana Williamson had dozens of charges dropped. It's not clear if, she's cooperating in something with, involved with the governor. I did ask McGregor Scott about that last month. He said no, there's no investigation, but I just called to follow up again to confirm that. Again, still waiting to see.
Okay, Ashley, thank you for staying on top of this.